What is up everyone, Barrick here, and bringing you guys something quite awesome today. I'm going to be showing you guys how to get the Remember the Fallen Easter egg for Gears 5. Also, along giving you guys the steps to get all the collectibles and to activate the Easter egg, I would like to also have a lot of lore in this video for each particular Easter egg. So first thing I just want to say, the way the Easter egg works is the fact that you have to find collectibles throughout the game, and each one is specific to a certain character that has unfortunately died throughout the series. And at the very end of getting all of these, you go to a memorial and use the collectibles to activate a somewhat of a hidden scene that you would have never been able to get without these collectibles. And so throughout the video I'm going to show where to find them, a piece of lore, I would like to talk about each character, and I'll also put timestamps in the description, so if you guys don't want to hear the lore part, you could just skip straight to the very next collectible if you're just trying to get them all. But overall guys, I'm really excited to make this video, and also watch it to the end. Once I put all the collectibles at the memorial, I actually am going to do a little bit of an extra edit to that particular scene that's going to make it pop even more. So you guys are going to love it, guys. But okay, so to start us off here, the very first collectible is found at the very beginning of the game. When you first get off the helicopter, you have to look around in the water area, and you eventually find a pair of glasses that belong to none other than Adam Phoenix. And when I post these on the screen here, feel free to pause them and read them because they're very interesting. So with Adam Phoenix, he was actually a soldier in the Pendulum Wars for quite some time, until one day he decided he no longer wanted to be in the battles, he actually wanted to end them. So he decided to become a full-time scientist and was promoted to deputy head of weapons research. And his main objective was to make a weapon that would end the war. And he started thinking of orbital satellites and things like that for quite some time, but never could get it perfected. It was always a very hard task, until one day after the Battle of Asheville Fields, the COG was able to steal the blueprints from them, and then with his research was able to finally fully create the Hammer of Dawn, and which caused the UIR to finally give up the war, and the COG won. After this had happened, they then used the Hammer of Dawn to essentially destroy over 90% of the planet and the population to try to defeat the Locusts, because after just 1 year of war, the Locusts were almost taking over the entire planet, and it was completely hopeless. So they had to use this Hammer of Dawn to try to stop them. And after this had happened, Adam Phoenix was kind of branded as a monster because he was someone that created a weapon that killed so many people. But he made these weapons because he wanted to end wars, not start them. After his wife's disappearance and death, he somehow came in contact with Queen Mira and struck a deal with her to stop the Locust War by creating a cure for lambency. After some time, she gave up and attacked the surface and went after Adam Phoenix to kidnap him so she can force him to create this cure. But during the battle, he was covered by rubble and presumed dead after a helicopter crashed into the nearby building. But he survived. Later found by Prescott and his Onyx guards, he was taken to Azura, where he was forced to create a weapon that would eventually kill the Locust Horde. He did eventually defeat the Locust with his countermeasure, but unfortunately in doing so killed himself due to his research needing him to inject himself with emulsion, which made him susceptible to his own countermeasure. Dying and leaving his son Marcus Phoenix behind, he never got to meet his grandson, James Dominic Phoenix, who I know for sure he would have been very proud of. The second collectible can be found in the same chapter, Act 1, Chapter 1. After a battle with a carrier, you can find Chairman Richard Prescott's watch. Prescott was definitely a hard case. He was someone that you would feel like you hated the guy, but at the same time you understood his thought process and his decisions. He was hated because he was the one that ultimately decided that the Hammer of Dawn would be the countermeasure to the Locusts, killing millions of people. Always the politician, Richard was the son to David Prescott, a previous chairman as well, and he grew up doing nothing but politics and only became a COG soldier for 18 months, where he did not have any combat. Later on during the Locust War, the chairman at the time passed away and Prescott took over and led them for quite some time, until out of nowhere he abandoned the COG and disappeared. Everyone thought that Prescott went crazy and just left them behind, but in reality he went back to Azura to check on the scientists, to check on Adam Phoenix, to see what was going on. He eventually did come back to the COG and everyone was angry with him but he did eventually lead them and give them the information they needed to get to Azura. Dying during a battle, he made sure that the cog had the information they needed within the data disk so they can go about ending the war. The next collectible can be found in Chapter 3 of Act 1. Right after you meet Lizzie Carmine, you get to go up a staircase on the far right that eventually leads you to a Embry star that was owned by none other than Dominic Santiago. When Dominic Santiago was in the Pendulum Wars, he was a commando that worked alongside Hoffman. During Operation Leveler, which was to get the blueprints at Asheville Fields, he interrogated scientists to get the information that they needed to get the full blueprints to create the Hammer of Dawn. During the battle, he lost his brother Carlos Santiago, but at the same time his second child, Sylvia Santiago, was born. Torn between emotions of his brother's loss and the born of his second child, he didn't know how to feel. During this battle, he also saved many soldiers by driving a boat into the back of a plane, allowing escape and saving many lives. This branded him as a hero and earned him the Embry Star. He was a simple man and he loved his family, his wife, Maria Santiago, his son, Benedito Santiago, and his daughter, Sylvia Santiago. Unfortunately, he lost both his children on Emergence Day, when both Maria's parents and their children were slaughtered by the Locust Horde. After this, they had a lot of struggles between one another. Maria started losing her mind, having hallucinations saying that the children were nearby and she needed to find them. Eventually, she left Dom while he was out on tour duty. He searched for her for 10 years, only to find her tortured and near death, and had to put her out of her misery. After this, he started losing himself, and the only person he cared about more than anything in the world was his brother, his best friend, Marcus Phoenix, and did everything he could to keep him alive. Sacrificing himself during the Battle of Gears of War 3, he was able to save not only Marcus but all of Delta Squad, and was able to help lead them to victory so they were able to save the world. While sad, Dom's sacrifice was necessary. The next collectible can be found in Chapter 4 of Act 1. Shortly after entering the theater, you find Michael Barrick's lighter. Michael Barrick was a very tough-as-nails man and took shit from no one and wasn't scared of anything. He was in the Battle of Alima during when Rom attacked it in ink disguise. A comrade to Min Young Kim, Tai Kaliso, and Alicia Valera. Part of Zeta 6, he was able to fight a great battle with Rom and survive and escape. But while he was able to survive a battle with the general, he lost his battle to sickness. He was infected by Rustlong after the light mass bombings of Gears of War 1, and went on a mission with Delta Squad to a city known as Montevado to investigate seismic activity, which was later shown to be the Riftworm. During this battle, they were swarmed by a huge amount of locusts and had no escape. He stayed behind to fight the locusts to the death so Marcus and everyone else can get away. He stated that he wanted to die his own way, standing, fighting. He didn't want to go out by sickness, and he went out like a true warrior. The next collectible can be found in Chapter 1 of Act 2. Near the Riftworm bones, you can find Benjamin Carmine's helmet. Benjamin Carmine was the youngest of 4 Carmine brothers, and even though he was a green-as-grass gear, he fought more battles and more locusts in his very first day than many gears have ever fought in an entire year. Very nervous, but very brave, Benjamin Carmine fought the battles without complaint and did everything he could to help Delta Squad. He hopped into the Hollow, fought the locusts, and survived so many battles, but unfortunately was caught up by the Riftworm, where he later died. Benjamin Carmine deserved better. He was too young, and I commend him. The next collectible can be found in Act 2, Chapter 2, right after you open the very first gate and get to the open world portion of the map. Right next to the very next gate, you can see a turned over vehicle where you can find Ty's earring. Ty was a very powerful warrior, with a fortitude unmatched. Nothing bothered him, and he did what he had to do. He was a great warrior and survived many battles. During the Pendulum Wars, his family and village was slaughtered by the UIR, and he later joined the COG alongside Marcus to fight them. And he actually was the one that, in a way, pitched the idea of a chainsaw bayonet. During a battle against some locusts, he ran out of ammo and his retro blade snapped in half. he grabbed a random buzzsaw that happened to be nearby and cut the locust in half. This gave the idea of the chainsaw bayonet and added a great weapon to the Cog army. While powerful, Ty met his match against Scourge, where he was later captured and tortured and eventually took his own life. The next collectible can be found in the same exact chapter, very close by actually. In a broken down train, you can find a corpse of a gear and a picture of Alicia Valera with her younger brother. Alicia Valera was a great comrade and part of Zeta 6 as well, and helped evacuate the city of Alima while it was being attacked by Rom. A local there, she felt very distraught to see her hometown of Alima be attacked and destroyed by Rom, and she did her very best to help. She believed in life and protected everyone she could. Very protective of her younger brother, she felt a connection with Jace and wanted him to survive and made sure that he did. During the battle with Rom, Jace would have been killed, but she got in the way and saved his life, costing her own. The next collectible can be found in Act 4 of Chapter 1. At the end of a very broken street, you can find a familiar helmet. Anthony Carmine's helmet after he got sniped. Anthony Carmine was a young gear and part of Delta Squad, and served along Minh, Young Kim, and Dom for quite some time before being able to finally meet Marcus Phoenix. He was a very young and carefree fighter, and he did everything he could to help. Unfortunately, he met his end when he decided to simply stand up while jamming his gun to show his comrades that he needed help, taking a bullet to the head. One simple mistake, one simple misjudgment can lead to your death. The final collectible can be found in the same exact chapter a little later. After a battle, you can see that the street is filled with water, and near one of the broken pieces of debris, you can see a knife stabbed into it with Minh Young Kim's cog tags. Always having the codes, Minh Young Kim was a model soldier, and with his unwavering determination, made sure to get the mission done. He was handpicked by Victor Hoffman to be his escort during the initial attack on Emergence Day, and he went through the House of Sovereigns to help them fight the battle. He eventually lost his life many years later when facing Rom, not only for the first time, but for the second time, many years after the Battle of Alima, and he, this time around, was unable to survive. Now, after collecting all the collectibles, you can go to a memorial right after you just saved Paddock to see what happens next once you get these items and put them at the memorial. The next part of this video will be that scene, but also with a little bit of an edit I made myself that I believe you guys will love. Enjoy.
Private Ben Carmine, sir! Reporting for duty, sir!
Every life we save today is something special. It's another chance for someone.
Go forth and bring back the hope of humanity! But all I can do is make sure you all have a future. Here's to the good fight, and living to see another day. Welcome to Delta Squad. Something's wrong with this thing. It keeps jamming. Everything happens for a reason. Look, Marcus is busy saving the world again, so I gotta be there for him.
Thanks for watching this video. If you want to see my most recent Gears of War video, hit that link on the left. If you want to see any of my other content, hit that link on the right. Thanks for watching, guys.